was on Spike TV was the Don't Get Eliminated. It was a Japanese game show that people would run across, and it was basically
Ninja Warrior.
You know what? Not Ninja Warrior. It was a comedy.
Oh.
Most Extreme Elimination Challenge, MXC.
No.
You never watched MXC? Oh, it's freaking hilarious.
Honor, I was poor. We didn't have cable until my mother started working for Midco.
So you should have watched it then.
No.
So
I
MXC,
was not a Spike TV or G4 guy.
watcher. That was
No.
oh man, I remember when we got Dish TV. I remember when we would start watching that, and we had Spike and all that. We had cable before it, but the whole premise behind MXC was it was this Japanese like game show where it was these two dudes, and they dubbed over every single person and put into words what they were saying, and they would just say the most just off the wall. And it was like always like one type of industry against another. And it was just hilarious. And then you'd watch these people run across the stage trying to finish it, and they would just like either get across or just totally bomb and just like fall to the ground and like fall into mud pits. And it was so funny to watch. I remember watching that a lot. And then from that, I remember what's leading me into the next subject of I used to watch this guy on YouTube, and he had this weekly thing called TETS, Trials Evolution Tuesday. It was by Mike B, aka Phony. And he was like this really funny guy. He would just have this really quirky sense of humor. And he made this thing where he would go through Trials Evolution, which I was in college at the time, which was a bike-based game where you had to you're doing trials on a bike. So you had to get over obstacles and avoid exploding and stuff and avoid your guy like basically dying. It was a really fun game. I got like weirdly obsessed with it in college. It wasn't that big of a game. It was basically a Xbox. I forget what they used to call them. It was an Xbox like store game. It wasn't a full release, so I downloaded it and just got obsessed with trying to get gold medals on every track because that's just what I did, and it's what I do. I obsess about games. You know that.
Yeah. I mean, I think both of us do in our own way.
In different ways. Yeah, I think that's exactly. We both get obsessed, and I'm a min-maxer, and you obsess about story.
I love a good story.
So I just remember this guy making these really funny Trial Evolution because the Trials of Evolution had like a map editor, and it was extremely robust, like wildly robust. You could do so many different things with this. Like you could make your own individual games with these editors. It was kind of wild what you could all do with it. And you would find these off the ball maps and then show it to you, and then you'd be like, okay, this is really weird, but I want to play this map because this guy's hilarious. He only did it for like 6 months and then he quit doing it. But it was literally it would be my highlight of my Tuesdays is I would watch TETS, Trials Evolution Tuesday. And then after that, he started playing the game that we're talking about today, Don't Starve, because he kind of lost me after he started playing it, because he started playing this Don't Starve game, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. And basically, he would do a let's play of the game, and I could never understand it the way he was explaining it. He would just jump all over the place, and he would try to have a storyline of what he was doing, and it didn't make any sense.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I remember, and we'll be getting into this a little bit later, but I remember that when this game came out, it took the gaming world by storm. Like, everyone was playing it.
Mm-hmm.
and I've got a story about that. It was kind of fun, but yeah. Well, with that being said, welcome to Those Catholic Gamers, a podcast about Catholic guys coming together to talk about video games and their Catholic faith. I am James, your host, and today I am joined by Connor.
Hello!
And this is episode 11. Connor, just a side note, we've been doing this for 11. This is the 11th episode. We're
I
past
know.
10. It doesn't feel that bad.
It doesn't feel that bad. Do you remember what I originally told you?
Yeah, you told me 10.
10 episodes. Guess what? This is my 10th episode, so I'm done, James. Just kidding.
Okay, sounds good. All right, moving on.
I'll keep going.
I'll just get to know Joe really, really well.
Yeah, there you go. Joe and Scott, because
yeah.
You did an episode without me with Scott.
I've done 2 actually with him now.
I did too. Okay. Well, spoiler coming out later.
I think.
Because the one you just released this week was the Knights Templar game.
Stronghold Crusader.
Which actually made me want to play it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have you come over here sometime and I can show you it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Because I don't want to spend $20 on it.
No, absolutely not. I mean, usually it's on sale for like $2, but even then.
Oh, okay. That's down. I might buy it then. It goes on sale. Because hashtag Steam sale, baby. Steam sale.
So, but today we are reviewing the 2015 game Don't Starve. Don't Starve.
Don't Starve Together.
Oh, yes. Thank you. And Don't Starve Together, which is essentially the multiplayer add-on.
Yep. Don't forget that, James. Come on now, because that's what I played. I played Don't Starve Together. Yeah,
and you're the multiplayer guy. I could care less about multiplayer. But anyway, Don't Starve is a survival game developed and published by Healy Entertainment. You control Wilson, who, after messing around with dark magics, has been sucked into a shadow world. So, with all that being said, can you help him survive and escape this hellish landscape that he finds himself in, and especially don't starve?
See what you did there?
Yeah. So with that being said, this game was released on all sorts of platforms when it came out. We're reviewing off of our experiences of playing on PC, specifically Windows. Before we start, we ask that you, the audience member, listener, if you are finding us for the first time, feel free to follow, subscribe, do all the things that you do for podcasts and YouTube videos, leave a review, comment, give this thing a like, and also let your friends and family know that this podcast exists. That way we can grow this audience and continue to reach out and try to provide a different viewpoint on video games and also attempt to evangelize in a different way. Thank you.
Thanks. We got our first comment the other day. James sent it to us, and he was like, "We got our first comment." And I was like, "Yeah!" Woo!
Hey, 5 stars! Like
5 stars! Woo! Now we're gonna get a bunch of 1-star reviews.
I know. But
we do appreciate it. We really do.
Yeah. So thank you.
Any review, we appreciate.
Absolutely. So, yeah. So wait. So Connor, you've played really only the multiplayer. Have you ever sat down and tried to play the single player portion of the game?
Let's see if I have it. Let's take a look at my Steam. I don't know if I have the first one, to be honest with you. I don't. I only have Don't Starve Together. But I know that you can play Don't Starve Together by yourself.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, you can play it by yourself. That's a part of the first one. So you essentially would just start a private game and go from there. So yes, I have played it by myself. Yes.
Okay.
Did not get very far, but I will admit that I did play it by myself.
Now, does Don't Starve Together have cutscenes when you first start the game, or does it just kind of plop you in?
I think it just plopped you in.
Okay. So yeah, you are kind of missing out then, because at least in Don't Starve, that's kind of a main difference is it opens up with Wilson messing around with like alchemy. He's kind of like a 1800s inventor kind of thing. And he becomes obsessed, and he's listening to a voice on the radio who is guiding him to put together this machine. And then he does it, and a dark hand basically comes out of the portal, grabs him, and pulls him into this other world. And then you wake up and you try not to starve and try to escape, essentially. So,
Gotcha.
but yeah,
Which is funny because you never actually end up escaping.
spoilers, but yes. So that's actually
We should put that on every single episode. Hey, if you're gonna listen to this game, if you're gonna listen to this podcast, stop, play the game, because we're gonna spoil every single one of them.
absolutely.
We are gonna spoil every single game we talk about.
I'm also a bit of a Doctor Who fan, so I'm always willing to just spoilers. Because that was an ongoing theme with a character. But
fair enough.
You're not a Doctor Who fan, I assume.
I am not a Whovian.
Okay.
Not a Whoite. I know I had some friends in college who were absolutely obsessed with it, to the point you'd be on TV, I would make a comment to be like, shh, 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 be quiet. I missed 2 words of Doctor Who. Oh man, I gotta rewind. It's like, are you serious? Relax. You missed 2 words
TV
of a
show, and we
show.
live in the 21st century. You can always go back and
you can rewind. You don't need to scream at me. Oh, yeah. That was the problem I had with them, is they were like, shh, 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 be quiet. I have to pay attention to every single word. It's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You can understand context clues, people. Anyway, sorry, that's a rant. And I, dear listener, that's going to get me started on this game. I have strong feelings about this game in a lot of different ways. So if you've played Don't Starve Together and enjoy it, just know I respect that. I know a lot of people that do enjoy this game. I don't. Played with my friends, and
so angry.
I got very angry a lot of times. I have 28 hours into this game. James can attest for this. There were a lot of times where it would end the night, me just absolutely screaming furious.
Well, didn't you rage quit a couple of times where you just kind of like dropped, and Joe and I just kind of continued playing?
I guarantee you, yes. This is probably the only game I've actually rage quitted with you guys. Sorry, not to get into a random tangent, but just wanted to let everybody know.
This is the point. This is the point of the podcast where we share our stories about this game. So,
yeah.
How did you become aware of Don't Starve Together?
It was through the Mike Phoney guy. That was originally what I had heard about it. And you guys had mentioned it one time when we were gaming about Don't Starve. And I was like, well, I've heard about this game from this YouTuber guy that I was obsessed with for a while. And he played it, but I never got into it because it was really, really, really confusing. Like, I was really confused at what was going on in the game and what was the objective of what he was trying to do. Because that's kind of how I play games. I have to have an objective. I have to be, hey, you go here, do this. And that's why I struggle with games like this in Minecraft and Terraria, because it's basically do play at your own. Do it, whatever you want to do, you go do it. You want to go do this? Go ahead. Why not? There's no objective. Just go play. So that's originally how I heard about the game, was through this guy and from you guys. How did you hear about it?
I believe I remember seeing this game pop up it was most likely on the Steam store.
Yeah.
I was going through my second attempt at college at the time. I was working at Domino's, actually. I was a
Wait, how have we been friends this long and I just realized now you worked at Domino's? How long did you work at Domino's?
Oh gosh, let's see here. It was almost a year.
Oh wow. Is this
Yeah,
in Brookings?
Brookings. It was in
Got it.
Brookings. Yeah. Actually, I would have stayed at Domino's if my class schedule wasn't so jacked up the next year.
Mm.
And if I remember correctly, I believe my boss said that he was going to make me an assistant manager.
Yeah,
And
that takes up a ton of time because you have to be there.
yeah,
They have to be, you basically are from there from like 11 till like 1 or 2 in the morning.
I mean, I was already basically doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were there long days. I would what was it? I would get in at like 4 or 5 p.m. and then I was done where we would shut down at 1 or 2 a.m. and then it was an hour cleanup. And of course, like
Gross.
no breaks. Everyone smoked. I would go through like a pack a day. I was broke out of my mind. And then I
Because
would go home.
you're spending all your money on cigarettes.
Well, it also just wasn't a really good paying job.
Mm.
And honestly, if I really wanted more money, I should have just picked up more hours. But anyway, so this game came out right during that time, and I remember getting it right when it released. I like the survival game. I like the artwork. So this is actually kind of it's almost got a Paper Mario kind of look, kind of vibe, feel.
Yeah, the artwork in this game is awesome. I
Right.
think it's a very cool looking game. There's a lot of different creatures that are just like really off the ball that you've probably never heard of before. They were super creative with a lot of the mobs in this game and the artwork. Yeah, I would totally agree. The artwork in this game is awesome. It's got like a 2.5D feel, but it's a
Mhm.
3D game, but also more of a 2D game at the same time. So it's kind of, yeah, there's a lot going on with the artwork. But you can also rotate the camera and look at a different area.
Yeah. Yeah, so
So
incredibly stylized, and that was a main selling point for this game. I was intrigued. I bought it. I started playing it, and everyone I knew who was also into playing video games also was playing it to the point where I delivered pizza to a house, and they were playing Don't Starve. And he was like, "Oh, wait, let me look up on the wiki, like what do we need to do to make so that we can have access to this thing?" I was like, "You guys playing Don't Starve?" And he's like, "Oh man, yeah, it's so good, it's so hard." So
Yep.
yeah, no, this game, man, it was definitely one of those. What was it? Kind of struck by lightning. It.
Yeah. It was like everywhere all at once. You know what I mean? Kind of the game where it hit the market and then a bunch of people started playing it and you're like, whoa. And then all of a sudden, literally everyone and their dog was playing it. Kind of like um not what's the most recent co-op shooter game? What's it
Valorant.
called? Well, Valorant, yeah, but that's not really a drop out of nowhere kind of game. No, it's
Oh, Helldivers 2.
Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 was that same thing where all of a sudden this game dropped out of the middle of freaking nowhere and everyone was playing it. Same thing with Fortnite. Dropped out of the middle of freaking nowhere. Nobody had heard about it. All of a sudden everyone and their dog was playing it. Um I could see that being with this game. Yeah, Don't Starve, all of a sudden it dropped and everyone was playing it. Everyone I heard was playing it because it was just one of those types of games where it was very engrossive, where you basically could just lose track of time playing it just because there's so much stuff you can do.
Yes. Right. So, and I mean, that kind of dives into our gameplay, right? So, essentially, it's a survival game. So, you have to survive.
James,
You have
I
to
wouldn't
find
call it a
food.
survival game. I would call it survival hell because you're always trying to survive no matter what. You can be fully out of food or fully your stomach could be completely full. You could have your intelligence be completely fine. And all of a sudden, something comes out of the middle of freaking nowhere. Nighttime happens, and you're like, Oh crap, I'm in the middle of nowhere. I am screwed. I don't have a torch and now I'm dead. I spent all this time just to die in about 2 minutes. And you're just like, why? Why does this have to happen now? Why is it so punishing? Why is this my first playthrough and I'm already dead within 5 minutes of playing the game?
You can also freeze to death.
You could freeze to death in the middle of summer. Oh, summer's happening. Oh, great. Summer's coming. Oh, rain, more rain.
Now you're all depressed, and now
you're all
seeing
depressed
shadows.
because everyone's wet all the time. Oh, you're cold because it's winter. Oh, great. Oh, yeah. I'm boom along. Oh, we got plenty of stuff. Giant Yeti monster. Oh, freaking nowhere. What the hell is going on? No warning. No expectation. Oh, we're just going along. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, you're doing fine. Oh, giant dogs. Dogs everywhere. They're going to bite you. They're going to destroy half your base and kill you.
And then the frog monsters and the pig monsters.
Frog monsters,
and the
pig monsters, spiders everywhere. Don't invade the spider's nest. They'll kill you.
The angry ant that comes hunting for you nonstop, no matter where you go.
You walk there, and ant, massive full screen ant. Oh, I'm gonna chip along. Oh, yeah, dead.
Connor, you were saying?
Yeah, I get very heated about this game because, and this is what I call this game. I call it a Wikipedia game. There are so many games out there that are Wikipedia games where basically they're designed to be as painful and as punishing as possible. Dead Souls, I wouldn't consider it a Wikipedia game, but it's along that. Project Zomboid, a Wikipedia game. Terraria. What was that?
Stardew Valley,
Wikipedia game. Basically, these games have so much content and they have so little descriptives at what each thing does that you have to always be on the Wikipedia. You have to have the Wikipedia up on a second monitor or on your phone just because you have no idea what anything does. And the only time, and if you do finally understand what everything, you're 1,000 hours into the game. You've obsessed over every single detail about the game. 7 Days to Die, Wikipedia game. Like, you have to have I get it. They want to make the games in depth. They want to make games punishing, and this game is very punishing. And I get it, and I respect that. And a lot of people love that. And more power to them. But if you need to have a complete guide to this entire game, it's not a game. Why not just read a dictionary then? Why not go into a encyclopedia and just read pages then? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I can definitely understand and sympathize with that. And I mean, to be honest, the payoff for this game doesn't add up. Right. You've if you choose, and that's the kind of the thing, right? So you start off in your generated world, and it changes every time.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you find an additional portal, it will start the adventure mode, which is essentially the main campaign of the game, and you are provided different obstacles that you have to come or get over so that you can eventually find the person who drug you into this world to escape. Well, eventually you actually can find that person, and then you become trapped even further.
Yeah.
So essentially, right, at least from like a theological point of view, right? He was messing with magics and got drugged to hell, and now he's stuck.
Yeah, he's stuck in hell, which is a great way to describe this game. Hell.
I don't know.
This game is hell.
For you. I quite enjoy this game, but I mean, what was it? My brothers and I will actually every now and then will pop on and play a game every now and then, and we
Yeah.
definitely do enjoy it. They are much better at this game than I am.
Yeah. Talking with them about it, they have I have a basic understanding of this game. They have the next level of basically the wiki understanding this game. They basically are walking wikis for this game. I sat down and talked with your brother about it, and I was like, "Holy crap, you understand this game
Hmm.
too much."
Hmm. Well, and I mean, this game came out when my brother was a junior in high school,
Okay.
right? So wait,
So he
no,
had time to
scratch
dive
that.
into this
No,
game.
no, he was like a freshman in high school, freshman or sophomore. So he had time, and he had like the energies of youth to really just obsess over this game, right? I wouldn't say
Yeah.
like this was his halo, but he was able to actually like really dive into it. And then my brothers and I are very much, and our dad are very much into like just survival in general. So we have that mindset of, you know, all right, we need water, we need food, we need shelter. There's a psychological aspect. How do we maintain all of that? And then all they were doing was um, applying those concepts and finding out what items in the game affect those things.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So, but yeah, I mean, essentially that is the gameplay, and that is the story.
Yeah.
I think, or at least from the Don't Starve standpoint, because in Don't Starve Together, you pretty much have full reign of like all of the different characters.
Mhm. Yeah,
Remember?
there's a lot of different characters you can play as, and each character has their own perks and negatives, positives, strengths, weaknesses, advantages, disadvantages, and they're
Yeah.
all I mean, there's one I forget which character it is that you should just never play because he's designed to be a cripple for you.
He's the main antagonist of the game. The really tall guy, the magician.
Nope, not
Oh, same
him.
guy? Nope.
No,
Oh, you're
I'm
thinking of
trying
the mime.
the mime, yeah, he can't talk. He
Yeah.
is perfect. He is designed to make the game as difficult as possible because he has no benefits.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and then, well, part of that is actually part of the gameplay, so I'll get into it. Your character will comment on things, and then that's actually a way to tell you, as the player, like, what is this character in need of?
Hmm.
And the mime doesn't have that.
Yeah,
So you don't have that ability. You just kind of have to know, one, his weakness, and then secondly, how to play the game incredibly well.
hmm yeah,
So
having
it's a hard
absolutely
mode on
no
top of
context
overview.
clues. Yeah,
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 it's a
it's
hard
hard
mode.
mode on top of hard mode.
So, but yeah, so we touched on graphics. We've touched on gameplay. For Don't Starve itself, as you progress and play through the game and you get better and better, you will actually unlock those other characters. So you
Oh, in the
start
original
off
game.
with Wilson. Yeah, so you start off with Wilson. You have no other choice. And then as you get better, you'll basically gain almost like experience, and you unlock those other characters, and then it allows for you to play the game in different ways as well.
Gotcha.
So, but um
Oh, dragonfly! I forgot about the dragonfly. Oh, remember the dragonfly?
no.
The massive dragonfly that's in the fire zone. Basically, you can just walk in there. It's got all these really good loot. All of a sudden, you'll find the firefly and you'll get enraged and chase after you over the whole entire map, kind of like the end.
No, I don't remember this.
You never discovered the dragonfly?
Well, I'm kind of going off of more of Don't Starve, which most likely that was added on, or the character or the boss that you're talking about.
Yeah,
Most likely it was added during a DLC. So
it is. It is a
unless I
DLC.
confronted it in Don't Starve Together, I don't remember.
Yeah, and there is a lot of different characters that you can play as, which is super fun to figure out what character you want to main. What character do you not like? What character do you like? Yeah, and Don't Starve Together. There's 10. Wilson, Willow, Wolfgang, Wendy, WX78, Wickerbottom, Woody, Wes, Maxwell, and Wagstaff.
Yep. Yeah, and Maxwell's the main antagonist.
Yep. So you can I don't know how you unlock him, but
I think you have to beat the game.
Okay, the original game.
Yep. Because essentially, he has escaped from the chair that he's been tied into for who knows how long.
Spoiler alert! And there's even more than that, because then there's Maxwell, and then there's Wigfried Weber, which is a spider.
Yep.
His beard grows silk webs, and then there's Winnie, Warley, Wilbur, Woodlegs, Wilba, Woodward, Wormwood, and Willer.
Yeah, and I believe those are all either DLC characters for Don't Starve, or they're just in Don't Starve together.
And you can get a dog and stuff.
So, well, and then what's also really fascinating and creative about this game is there isn't any dialogue, right?
Yeah. That's good.
However, when the character speaks to you, they all have their own instrument. So Wilson's like a clarinet, and what was it? Who was it? Willow, I think, is a flute. And so you have these different differentiations. Different. I can't remember.
Deliberations.
Something like that.
Differentiations.
Different. Yeah. Thank you. Which also is actually playing off of a famous child's story that's a musical, which is, I believe, Peter and the Flute. Did you ever grow up with this?
No, I haven't. Fun fact: all the characters' names start with a W, except for Maxwell, which starts with an M.
So Peter and the Wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peter and the Wolf, and all characters are voiced symphonically through different instruments. So I remember growing up and going to that. So that really struck a chord with me. Get it? Musical joke? Okay, never mind.
A struck a chord with you? Oh yeah. I sorry, I'm reading all the list of characters.
I am a dad.
Anyway, what were we talking about? I forget what we were talking about.
We're talking about sound.
Okay, there's different sounds. There's a lot of really quirky sounds. I think if I remember correctly, I started listening to the soundtrack to this game and it was good, and then I turned it off because I wanted to listen to my own music. But overall, yeah, each character has its own sound, and it basically speaks to you through that. So like when they're speaking, that instrument plays, and you read the dialogue, but they don't actually say what they're thinking.
Yeah. There's no actual person speaking for them.
Right.
Yeah.
But even at that, each dialogue that they have is unique in and of itself. You know, like each one has a different way of talking, which is refreshing because there's not really a character that's anything like any of the other characters. Yeah, I think it's just very unique. Each character, each one has their own backstory. You can go back and watch individual animated shorts of the backstories for each character, which is fun to do. Yeah, it's a very in-depth game. You can play the game at a very surface level if you want, and just basically pound your head against a wall and die constantly until you finally figure it out. Or you can go onto the Wikipedia and find all these backstories, find all the mobs, find all these different things that you could do and backstories, and how did each character get into this zone, and how did they figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of playing off of the, what was it, Team Fortress 2 gimmick, where all of the different characters have their own special short videos produced by the developing company of the game and to provide backstory for the characters.
which is a nice added touch. It
Yeah.
and especially for people like you that really love that kind of stuff, you can go into deep of storyline and figure out what's going on.
Yep. Absolutely. So,
So I do appreciate that about the game.
fair enough. All right. So, when it comes down to it, we played this together multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm willing to guess that even though in the end you were frustrated, you were enjoying your
Yes.
time.
I was enjoying my time with you guys. Being around you and like each one of our friends has a different way of viewing games, right? And that's kind of why we have this podcast, because we do have different viewpoints of how to play games. You're the kind of basic knowledge. You're kind of enjoy loving story and going about it and running and kind of
E-
smash people
yeah.
up kind of guy.
Experiencing the gameplay,
Yeah,
kind of seeing the art
experiencing the
in that.
gameplay. Exactly. Joe is very much he likes to be support. He's kind of a jack of all trades. He can do a little bit of everything. He's good at listening, or sometimes he can be annoying sometimes because he'll backstab you, which is fun. Me and Joe played games for a long time. But he's good at a little bit of everything. He's good at giving instructions, good at you give him a task, he'll do it. His wife is really focuses on cooking in a lot of games, so like when we do Don't Starve, she's really good at making farms and all doing all that stuff. I'm the guy who's just gonna run off and just grab a bunch of loot and bring it back for everybody else. Um, so like this is a good game for us to play as a friend group because each person has their own way of playing games, and it works out really, really well for us to play. It's until I die because I was being an idiot and got too aggressive when I attacked a mob, and then I have to run back and die again, and then I try to get my stuff back again, and then try to run back and then die again, and then I get frustrated, and then I come back and accidentally start our entire encampment on fire. Which we do have a really funny we do have a really funny on Twitch. We have a funny clip of me accidentally starting our entire encampment on fire.
It actually reminds me, if we can figure out a way to get those clips from your Twitch site and we can try to put them up onto the YouTube channel, I think that would be really, really fun.
We could do that. You might have to edit some of them, but I have like, I do have. What do I have? All of this, pretty much all of the live streams that we've done are all on there. But I also do have clips, some clips that I've done.
I
So
was
if you
just
want to
thinking
go,
of clips,
yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Just
like the
clips.
shark one.
The shark one would be a great one. Trying to think here. Clips.
Oh, and these clips you can find at twitch.tv/Fatal Condor.
Yep. So, chopping down trees. I'm trying to think. Games with the boys. Is that the one yeah, that's the one I started the camp on fire. The shark one's on here too. I'm trying to think where that's at. That's around here somewhere. But yeah, there's a bunch of clips and stuff from me playing with you guys. Note self, don't light things on fire. Yep, that's a good one. It's all on there.
Yeah. I mean, it's a
We've
good
got
time either way for a multiplayer game, but to really enjoy it, I think all of you have to be really involved. I
yeah.
think that's why my brothers enjoy the game so much, is because they are so heavily invested.
Mhm.
And then they get much more out of it because both of them are very, very good at it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. No, that's the one thing that playing with your brothers would be a ton of fun because and just playing with anyone in general that's good at a game because they can hard carry you through a game. So,
That is true.
like that's the fun thing with playing with people who are better than you.
Fair enough. So, I mean, overall experience, I enjoy the game.
Terrible.
I like survival games.
If you like survival games, this is perfect for you.
Yeah. Well, if you like survival, and then there's also that psychological element that is added.
Yeah.
So it's almost Lovecraftian, if you want to
Mhm.
throw that term in there.
Mhm.
So you're beginning to play with those concepts as well, where certain acts will will damage your psychology, but are almost sometimes necessary, like the killing of rabbits.
Mhm. Mhm. Right. Yeah. You can literally either trap them or you can go up and try to murder them with your thing, and murdering them with your fists or an object actually does more, affects your brain more than just trapping them.
Yep. But even like killing them to turn them into a morsel of meat, that
Mhm.
will still have an effect on you even after trapped.
Right.
So, but, but yeah, no. And then Connor, your overall experience.
My overall experience is this game is crap. Um, it's a great do everything kind of game. There's so much you could do within this game. There's so much lore, there's so much gameplay, which is great. It's super fun, if you want to get into something like that. But if you just want to sit down for like a 15 minutes and just pump out something, this is not the game for you. This is not the game to just sit down. This is literally the opposite of Portal 2 or Portal, where it's a great game. You can just sit down, pump it out in 2-3 hours, you're good to go. No, you have to obsess about this game in order to get it. Like, you have to dive into a realm that's just a whole different understanding, a whole different terminology. There's a whole different wide variety of mobs, food. Like, just simply trying to find food at first is almost impossible. You have to know what goes together. You have to know how to find food. The low hanging fruit is just absolutely terrible. It heals you like one or two food, and like healing items just don't work because you have to like go deep. My overall experience of the game has been negative because I just don't have the time to sit down and obsess about a game. I'm not in my If I would have found this in high school, sure. Yeah, I probably could have done it or something earlier that I'd have more time to figure it out. Sure. Yeah, it would have been a great game for me, but I just don't have the patience right now to get killed 20 different times in one play session and then try to figure out how everything goes. Um, but overall, the art style in this game, awesome. Great art style. It's probably one of my biggest redeeming factors of this game. There's a lot of cool mods that you can do, like quality of life mods that just make the game actually playable. It's also one of those games where you have to have quality of life mods to make the game actually playable. Like, you can get mods that show you, hey, this type of food goes with this type of food. If you cook this with this, you can make this. And without looking at the Wikipedia. Um so there's a lot of things you can do within this game to make it easier for you. So I could do that. You could find mods, which is nice for the workshop. The multiplayer, super fun. If you're playing with friends, it's kind of like a Borderlands 2 where if you play this, it makes the game you do so much more. You could do so much more and actually win. Whereas if I'm playing by myself, I just don't win because I don't have no idea what's going on 99% of the time.
Or alrighty. Well, with ratings, we'll get into the moral aspect a bit here. So we rate games from the USCCB's movie ratings A1 through O. I am going to rate this an A2. I mean, you are dealing with some darker elements. Essentially, somebody who's almost basically trapped in hell due to their circumstances. I mean, otherwise, I mean, there's no language, there's no sexual content, there's really no violence. But
There's
the
psychological violence.
on Connor.
It's like Bennett Foddy's getting over it. Like, there's no actual violence or struggles inherently. It's just sucks. And it
Yeah.
sucks just for it's pain just for the sake of pain. kind of like Dark Souls. Just like it's just hard for the sake of being hard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. So the complexity of the game is definitely more for teenagers and up as well, right? Like my son, when he's 6, 7, 8 years old, probably still would not be able to play this game because it is so complex.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then that's really why I'm rating it A2. Connor?
Yeah, I would agree. It's one of those games where yes, there's no inherent violence. You're trying to attack creatures and stuff, but there's no blood, there's no like gore, there's no sex. There's no there's not like any other like additional pride or anything like that. Or there's a little bit of wrath. I guess you could say there's some anger that you could have towards this game, like myself. But yeah, I would say as a teen, morality wise, you'd be fine. I wouldn't let my son play this probably till he's in his 10,
11,
like
12
10,
years old.
10, 10 or 11. Yeah, 10 or 11, 12. Just because it's not something that a kid should be playing for sure. So I'd give it an A2 as well.
Perfect. And then we'll just do we've touched we've kind of dived into our own subjective ratings here pretty well. We'll just summarize here really quickly. Connor, thumbs up or thumbs down?
-100 out of 10.
So thumbs down. I give this one a thumbs up. So
we're gonna give Ebert and Rupert gonna give this 2 thumbs way down, baby.
Alrighty. So with all that being said, unless Connor, you got anything else?
I'm trying to think of anything else I could think of. No, I pretty much vented all my anger towards this game, and you know what? I will probably harbor my anger towards this game for the rest of my life. But you know what? That's okay. If you enjoy the game, more power to you. More power to you, because this game sucks.
This game's great.
It sucks so bad that it's great. It's yeah.
Alrighty. So with all that being said, thank you for listening. If you liked this episode, please leave a review and follow this podcast. You can always email us at catholicgamerspod@gmail.com. Once again, Connor streams on Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. at twitch.tv/Fatal Condor. Feel free to watch us. Viewer discretion advised. We are a little bit...
we have a good time.
We're a little bit more blue.
We're a little bit more uncut and unfiltered.
Yeah. So, but yeah, with all that being said, thanks again for listening, and God bless.
Bye. Have a great time.